Iron Supporting Food Banks collects food and cash donations for needy families in Newham Borough and beyond. Please consider making a donation via their Just Giving page, the link for which you will find in the description section of this stream. Come on, you Irons!
West Ham are massive, everywhere we go! West Ham are massive, everywhere we go! Everywhere we go! West Ham are massive, everywhere we go! West Ham are massive, everywhere we go! Everywhere we go!
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the West Ham Massive. Thank you for joining us. Before we get into the nuts and bolts of it, if you could just drop a like on this stream, that would really be appreciated. It really does help the channel along. And if you aren't already subscribed, just have a little check and just make sure, if you're not subscribed, please do give it a click, the button that says subscribe, and hit the bell, because when we do one of these streams or we add any content to, whether it's live or recorded, you will be notified straight away. It's completely free of charge. We don't keep your bank details. We don't know your address. We won't come around and electrocute your cat or anything. We'll all be one big happy family. And in times of adversity, you need your family, right? You need your family in times of adversity. And my God, times are pretty bleak at the minute. Evening, Epic Hash Time. Hope you are well. Hello, Darren. And I got to say, Andy, basically what it was, I was about to get ready. I told my missus that I was doing a live, and she turned around. She said, "Well, I'm about to make a cup of tea. Do you want a cup of tea?" And I went, "Oh, go on then." And she said, "Look, you can give me a couple of minutes to make the tea. I'd appreciate it." So I was like, "Okay, fine, no problem." So it is what it is. Normally I'm on time, Andy. Come on, normally. Time. Listen, I just wanted to do this because there's so many rumors about transfers out there, and it's quite difficult to know which is rumor, which maybe has a little bit more substance. And I'll be perfectly honest, and I've said this before, I'll say it again. I don't claim to be an encyclopedic knowledge of European and world football. My knowledge probably extends as far as Premier League football, to a slight degree the Championship, international football. That's it. If it's names that pop up that's outside of that realm, like Songutu Magassa, if I've got that name right, and names of that ilk, I'm sorry, I've got no clue. I have absolutely got no clue. Walshy, hope you are well. Thanks for popping along. So I'm going to sort of get into this with you, and I'd really appreciate as much audience participation as possible, because I dare say that I can learn something from you guys. Absolutely no problem at all. So let's get into it. So I'm gonna try and share these articles as I go, because I'm always a little bit low for people to sort of like think that I'm sort of making any of this up. I'm not an in the know. I'm just an average Joe fan, same as you guys. But I would like to just share with you these articles as we go along. So it just involves me pressing a few buttons. So this is the first one I'm going to sort of drill down into and see if any of you people might have an understanding of this player and where he's come from. And his name is, and I'm going to try and Franculino Dju, I think is his name. Now, he plays for Midtjylland, I think it is, of the Danish Superliga. He's a striker. He's 21 years of age, apparently. He's from Guinea-Bissau, and he went to Midtjylland, if that's, I don't know how it's pronounced, Midtjylland, whatever. I'll go with it. He went there from Benfica. He's been there since 2023. And he's got 83 appearances, 42 goals and 12 assists, which is not too shabby. I mean, okay, look, the Danish Super League is not the Premier League, but he's clearly got a talent for being in front of goal. Graham Potter's obviously on the picture there. Now, the interesting question obviously has to be, will Graham Potter even be in charge Just what's that, please? Okay. It's a bit of a strange one from Tony. I don't quite understand that question. Don't know what that's all about. Whatever. Right. So, yeah, it's. I don't know much about this player. I mean, he's age profile wise, 21 years of age. That would be a tick. Do we need a striker? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, we do. And I think there's no shadow of a doubt because, look, Bowen is not a striker. I love Jared Bowen, and I know he had that little flare-up yesterday with the fans. I've got no idea what was said. And to be perfectly honest with you, it was heat of the moment stuff, and I'm prepared to just sort of draw a line under it and move on. He's not a striker. He's an inside forward operating from the right, cutting in. That's where he gets his best. This guy is a striker. He can play as a number 10 and he can play as a right winger, but by default, he is a striker. Looking at these stats on Transfer Market, most of his games, 68 games of the 83 that he's played for Midgety Land, have been as a centre forward, 7 on the right wing, 1 as a left winger as well. So, could be a decent shout. I've got no idea about this guy. I've really got no idea about him. If any of you guys do, please do. But, you know, we're going to be linked with an awful lot of players. And this is, like I say, he's not one that I'm familiar with, to be truthful. So, do we need a striker? Yes. Could he be the answer? Well, I simply do not know. I simply do not know. This one's a bit more interesting and got a little bit more information about this guy. So this guy is 25-year-old Romano Schmid. Now, we've been linked with him very tentatively during this transfer window. We've probably been linked with half of Europe, let's be completely honest. But we've been linked with this player for a little while, and it's now obviously getting to the business end of the transfer window. We're in desperate need of reinforcements. We're in desperate need of legs in midfield. This guy might possibly be the answer. Now, he's an attacking midfielder, so obviously we're pretty far down the track from what we understand with Songutu Magasa. He's a more defensive-minded midfielder. Defensive midfielder come centre-back. So this guy's a more offensive midfielder. So if we can get these two in, that freshens up and livens up our midfield. 25 years of age. He is an Austrian international. He's currently at Werder Bremen, as you can see on that article there. He actually scored at the last Euros in a 3-2 win for Austria against the Netherlands. So, you know, he's not got a prolific goal-scoring record. I think he's got 25 caps, 2 goals for Austria, if I remember correctly. But a player that could be quite useful. You know, he's and being that he's coming from the Bundesliga, I kind of think that the Bundesliga is probably as close to the Premier League in terms of pace, in terms of physicality, that you can get. Danish Super League, as I say, that's a hell of a step up. And I'm not quite sure with the previous player that we were talking about, that Franculino Dju. Not too sure if that might be a step too far. I guess you'd have to give him the opportunity to find out. But this guy coming from a more established league, one of the sort of more established teams in Werder Bremen in the Bundesliga, maybe this guy could be someone. But the thing is, it's so difficult because there's all these players that we're being linked with. And it's the old thing. Are these Graham Potter's players? Are these David Sullivan's players? Are they who's signing them off? Who's agreeing to them? And if they are Graham Potter's players, well, he might not be here too much longer. So we'll wait and see. But Romano Schmid, as I say, 25 years of age. Again, in terms of trying to get a resale value on this player, there's potential there. The first player was, like I say, 21 years of age. This guy's 25. That's great. When you start bringing in players 28 and above, you know that probably, unless there's something very peculiar that happens, your chance of getting resale value is virtually zero. At 25 years of age, he could come in, he could do a job. And if things go in a certain direction of travel, we've still maybe got the potential to move him on in a couple of years' time and maybe get our money back, maybe get a profit. Who knows? Just going to have a little look here at a couple of comments. Midgety Land, is that the Gimp Dwarfs other club apart from Cardiff? It may well be, Andy. Hope you're doing well, Charlie. Yep, you head back to the beginning, and we'll see you soon, mate. Hope you are well. So Romano Schmid is another player that's been linked. Now, this is another player. Now, this player the name might resonate with some people because he actually has played in the Premier League before with Manchester City, and his name is Alex Garcia. Now, he's currently at Bayer Leverkusen. The 2 seasons ago, they won, obviously, the Bundesliga and the DFB Pokal, which is the German equivalent of the FA Cup. This guy went there after that season. So he went there last season, and he went there from Girona. Now, he was brought in by his Spanish counterpart, Xabi Alonso, and obviously Xabi Alonso's moved on to Real Madrid. Erik ten Hag's now gone in. He's the manager at Bayer Leverkusen, and this guy's basically not got too much of a look in, to be fair. And it looks like he's looking to sort of have a change of scenery. Hang on, what's this? Is that concrete before or after it's set? Very big difference. That is very true. Very true indeed. The old concrete boots, you don't want them on. He wouldn't be much good if he had that. Mind you, he'd look like our midfield at the minute, to be fair. So, yeah, like I say, he has got Premier League experience, Alex Garcia, but it's not a lot. He played 4 games for Manchester City. He was there he was a Manchester City player for 5 years in total, but he had a lot of loan spells out. Girona, Mouscron, before he eventually got transferred to Dynamo Bucharest. In terms of his age profile, yeah, he's 28, so probably a tad older than I'd like in truth. What's he going to offer us, though? As I say, he's a midfielder. He's a Spanish international as well. So he's got a decent pedigree. He's got 5 caps for the national team. He also was selected, for the 29-man preliminary squad for the last European Championship, but he was eventually cut from the final squad just prior to the tournament. So Alex Garcia. No notification? Really? Is that right, Kent? That's not good. Have you pressed the bell? Have you got the bell pressed, mate? Hope you're well. Hope you are well. So Alex Garcia, as I say, he does have Premier League experience. It ain't much, though. As I say, in a 5-year spell at Manchester City, he was out on loan quite a lot and only actually played 4 Premier League matches for them. But there's a lot of noise about this guy, a lot of rumours. Gonzo on Hammers Chat's just done a video about it. Some of the players that we've been linked with, Alex Garcia's name was also mentioned. Now, another name that we've been linked with, again, intermittently during the course of this transfer window, and here's another article mentioning this player. Now, this is a player from Roma. His name is Lorenzo Pellegrini. Now, Lorenzo Pellegrini, hang on, something's just flashed up my screen here. Screen share audio. Oh, okay. I think you guys can hear me still, right? Something's just flashed up on my monitor here, which makes me wonder whether you can hear me. So if someone could just confirm that, I'd really appreciate it. Kent comes in, says, not sure how quick these midfielders are that we're being linked with. Yeah, I mean, Pellegrini, I don't think he's particularly rapid across the turf, I've got to say. 29 years of age he is. So again, I'm looking at this and thinking, we need sort of younger, fresher legs than this. Okay, cheers, Walshy. Appreciate it. No problem. I think probably a similar thing to you, Andy. He's a bit older than I'd like. He's 29, 30 years of age. So injuries again, if there's any players that have spells out with injuries, this, that, and the other, hamstring problems and all the rest of it, I'd like to try and avoid that if at all possible. I know we need to beef up our midfield, Could this guy be the answer? Now, again, someone whose name's popped up in the last 24 hours or so as a possible incoming is Ibrahim Sangaré. Now, again, a lot of people seem to think that this is a player that would add a little bit of dynamism to our midfield. My issue with this guy is that he's been at Nottingham Forest for the past 2 seasons now, and with him, he's had a lot of time out with injury. So is it really a wise move? I think I looked up. I think he's had in 2 Premier League seasons, I think he's had 34 matches in the Premier League, 36 matches, something like that. Do we really want to take a chance that we're going to get in a player that has got injuries? I'm not so sure that that's a good move personally. Kent says, worried about the ages. I thought we was going to go for people under 25 if possible with a sell-on value. We've bought older players for too long. Exactly that. I mean, I mentioned that just a little bit earlier. I don't know if you was on at that point. You know, if we can bring in players 25 and below. Look, I'm not saying everybody. I get that. We do, Wilshie. We do love an injured player. Wasn't it Stuart Robson that we bought when he was on the treatment table? And other players that we brought in that have had injury problems. But with Sangaré, I think it's too much of a risk. As I say, I know he's got Premier League experience, but he's been quite injury prone during his time with us. But again, you know, give us your opinions. This one, this is one that I sort of looked at and I did recoil in horror. And yeah, I get that, Andy. That is arguably true, but I'm not too sure about this player. Now, again, this is a player, and Gonzo mentioned him in the video that he put out in the last hour or so, that Raheem Sterling's name keeps popping up. Now, look, he's had a glittering career. He's been an absolutely brilliant professional player. He's got multiple medals, Premier Leagues, FA Cups, League Cups. He's played for his country, scored for his country in big tournament matches. Absolutely fantastic. But let's be completely clear. From the moment he left Manchester City, his career took a downward trajectory. And it's been on that trajectory ever since. He's gone to Chelsea. It's not worked out for him there. They've loaned him out to Arsenal. Now, Arsenal saw fit to move him on at the end of the loan spell. They didn't think that it would be a wise move to keep him on. And now we're being linked with him. And look, you're putting there, and I'll just get it up there. Ken, absolutely not. I think it's fair to say in big capital letters says no, Sterling finished, but it would be typical West Ham though. And Andy also says a big no as far as he's concerned. But Ken also does say about Sangaré at his Dutch club, I think it was PSB, he was a tank, not showing it over here. As I say, bit concerning for me that he's had quite a lot of injuries. Andy goes on to say that he's a big no from him for Sterling. Thanks, but no thanks. 300k a week. Well, I think that it's fairly safe to say that he wouldn't be getting that here if he did arrive. And whether it might even be on loan, I don't know what his contract situation is at Chelsea, whether it might be a loan as opposed to us purchasing him. But 300k a week, there is just no way that that's going to happen. And as I say, I think he's about 30 now, there or thereabouts. So he's getting to a point in his career where really we're not going to have any resale value. This is another one. Now, shock horror, John Victor's name's popped up again. Yes, John Victor. Yes, the goalkeeper that we was after when just before we signed Mads Hermansson, who's come in and had a bit of a tough time of it, it's fair to say. 18 million quid, 15 million quid, 20 million quid. I don't know what we paid for him, but we've paid a decent chunk of money for a goalkeeper. And then 5 minutes later, we're going back to a goalkeeper who we were chasing before we spent that money. Now, again, Gonzo's mentioned this on his video, and his understanding is that we're possibly going after this guy because there's a very strong possibility that Alphonse Areola might be moving on before the window closes. But by all accounts, Botafogo, I guess they're probably not terribly impressed with the way that we conducted ourselves in the saga, leaving the player at the airport, if that was what was accurate to happen. And apparently Botafogo are just giving us the cold shoulder, and I don't entirely blame them. Walshy's saying 300 quid a week for Sterling. And Kent says Sterling, if he's 30, has been playing at the top level for 13 seasons. Yes, he burst through at Liverpool. He would have been a teenager, so that's probably about right. I know players look after themselves, but he's got to be going towards the bottom of the hill now for that amount of time. Yes, absolutely. I don't suspect he has. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, Walshy. If he got mucked about the way that it would appear he did, then for me, I wouldn't entertain us. I really wouldn't. Now we come to another goalkeeper. Oh, my goodness. It just gets worse and worse. Some of the rumours, you just sit there and go, please, 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 do not be true. I hope this doesn't have any substance to it whatsoever. But do you know what? With us, you just never know. Andre Onana. Yes, Andre Onana. That Andre Onana has been rumoured to have been linked with us. A move on loan. Beggars belief. Really does beg a belief. If Andre Onana is going to come in and be an upgrade on both Alphonse Areola and Mads Hermansen, then how bad are they? I mean, this guy, I've got to be honest with you. And I'm the same as that, Andy. Just not a chance. Not a chance. But Andre Onana, he's not really cut it at Premier League level for Manchester United. They've got a goalkeeper in ahead of him now. Altay Bayindir. I'm not entirely convinced he's the answer, but at the minute, Ruben Amorim has decided that he's the number one for now, ahead of Andre Onana. So that tells you what this guy is all about. This guy is just not up to the mark. He did okay at Ajax, that's fine, but Premier League, this guy has been well and truly found out. Kent says there, if I was Victor, I'd tell our esteemed owner and custodian to stick it, but he might be able to persuade him because we'd be able to give him a lot more money. Yep, absolutely. Yeah. The barrel is being scraped. I think we've scraped through it, and I think we've ploughed through the other side, mate. Ken also agrees, not today or any other day. If we sign Andre Onana, that is desperation. Now, here's a couple of other stories, and I don't know whether these might have got lost in amongst all these others. And look, again, I'm not saying which ones are right, whether there's any substance to them, whether they're not. I'm just going to sort of throw a couple out there that have probably not been, I've not heard these guys covered so much. So let's have a little look here. So this is a gentleman by the name of Ivor Pandur. Now, as you can see there, he's wearing a pair of gloves, and he is a goalkeeper for Hull City. We're apparently in for him. He's more a younger goalkeeper. I don't think this is someone that would necessarily be coming in for the here and the now. I don't suspect, but you never know. But this is a player that has been linked. As I say, just thought I'd get that out there. Don't know whether anyone out there is aware of this player, whether he's any good. As I say, let me know. If he's not and you think we ought to avoid him, then fair enough. Kent comes in and says, Man United must be regretting Dean Henderson go. 100%. I think that Dean Henderson is a fantastic goalkeeper. And the fact that they've let him move on, and he's done well. He obviously is at Palace now. He had a loan spell at Nottingham Forest before he left Manchester United on a permanent. And he's obviously won the FA Cup. And yeah, I think he's loving life. We must be in the barrel now below the one we scraped then. Yeah, you're probably right, Walshy. You're probably right. But that's another name. Now, another name, and this is one that we have been linked with quite readily, Hayden Hackney. Now, again, this is a player, England under-21 international. He was in the team that won the Euros a couple of months back. He has been linked with us quite heavily, but he's also been linked with Everton, as you can see there. But it looks like he might actually stay at Middlesbrough after all. But this would be a good signing, I think. You know, he's young, he's ambitious, he's got a lot of scope to improve resale value. He's young, he's dynamic. So, yeah, I think that Hayden Hackney, again, if that's a deal that we could get over the line, I'd be quite happy with that. What we got? So Kent says, good goalie from modern goalkeeper, good shot stopper, hole keeper. Hayden Hackney would be my choice to come in. I love him. I think he's a great player. There you go. So you are happy with this story, Kent. Absolutely happy with this story. You've got Walshy and Andy doing little barrel anecdotes. So there you go. Deary. You two, calm down. Another goalkeeper we've been linked with. Again, haven't seen this one getting sort of linked too heavily. Pierce Charles of Sheffield Wednesday. He has been linked. Again, don't know too much about this kid. I guess Kent may well know a little bit. He might have seen him. I think, if I remember rightly, I think I read that is he a Northern Ireland international? I'm pretty sure he is. Again, if we go for this guy, is he going to be our number one? I suspect not. But another player that's been linked with us, again, I've not seen this one mentioned, Harrison Burrows. Now, I don't really see the point of this one because Harrison Burrows is a right back. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Harrison Burrows has been linked with us. And yeah, I just don't really see. This one seems to be, I sort of thought I'd get it up there for consideration because it was one of a batch. But, you know, there's a lot of players that we're being linked with. I mean, Songair seems to be quite heavily linked with us. But my concern is the injuries. Onana, John Victor. Goodness me. 20 million quid just spent on a goalkeeper. I know we'll buy another goalkeeper. And yeah, it just beggars belief. But the thing is that the problem we have is that we've left it so damn late in the transfer window to do the business, is that now it's this mad rush, this mad panic. And I was having this conversation with my missus yesterday, and it's the old thing of David Sullivan thinking that he can get to the back end of a transfer window and get bargains. Now, the only way that you can pretty much be sure that you're going to do that is if you go to the end of that transfer window and you're not in a weak bargaining position. I'd tell me about it, Rob. Tell me about it. Like I say, which is exactly where we are. We are in a weak bargaining position, especially if we're going to other Premier League clubs, because they know precisely the situation. We go to them, or even sort of like a Championship club. Another player, you know, who it seems to have gone a little bit quiet on is Mateus Fernandes of Southampton. Now, he would be absolutely ideal. To be honest with you, I know we've been linked, and there was the story earlier about Romano Schmid, who's the attacking midfielder from Werder Bremen, the Austrian player. But for me, I think I would be more inclined to go for Mateus Fernandes. I've actually got a guy at work who's a Southampton season ticket holder, and he cannot, for the life of him, understand why we've not paid the money and just got him in several weeks ago. I know precisely the reason, and all of you know precisely the reason why we've not got him in up to this point. But it's just, here we go again, same old West Ham, you know, and we have this every single time, and it doesn't matter whether Moyes was in charge, doesn't matter whether it was Lopetegui in charge, doesn't matter if it's Potter in charge, doesn't matter if we had Stuyton as director of football, Stuyton's no longer around as the director of football, and Sullivan's in that role. We've got a data analyst as our head of recruitment. Doesn't matter. The one constant in all of this is David Sullivan, which, before I go, there is in the description below. I need to bring it to your attention. It is in the description below. If you haven't already signed the petition to try and get the people at the top of this club out of the club, Mr. Sullivan and Baroness Brady, then please do click in the description. There is a link that will take you to a petition. You put your name, you put your email address in, you then will get sent an email which you have to verify. If you don't do that step, it's doing the first bit where you put your name and your email in is a complete waste of time. Your vote will not count. So please make sure that if you want to force about a change, and I know some people will turn around and say the petition won't do anything. Do you know what? It's better to try and fail than to do nothing, as far as I'm concerned. So let's try and come together and try and get a little bit of a change at the club, because something has to change. There's been this slow erosion over a few years now since we won the Europa League, probably before that. There's been this erosion at the club. We need to try and arrest that, and we need to try and sort of push back against what's happening at the club. Walshy, the sad thing is, does anyone trust Sullivan to get the right players? No, that is a major concern. I think I was in the first 100 to sign it. Well done, Kent. Good man yourself. So make sure you sign the petition. But yeah, any of you guys watching this after the fact, you've got the comment section below of the guys that I've mentioned. If you've got any opinions, any facts, any knowledge that you want to bring to the table that I simply don't have and the people in the chat don't have perhaps, then please feel free to get your thoughts out there. Also, don't forget to drop a like on this stream and make sure you click subscribe if you haven't already done so. Remember, these things are completely free of charge to you. We don't have your bank details. We don't know where you live. It's completely anonymous, and it just helps to grow the channel. We would really appreciate it. Anyway, I am going to disappear. Thank you very much indeed for your time in joining me. And I'll see you again soon. Come on, you Irons.
Irons supporting food banks collects food and cash donations for needy families in Newham Borough and beyond. Please consider making a donation via their Just Giving page, the link for which you will find in the description section of this stream. Come on, you Irons.
West Ham are massive everywhere we go. West Ham.